Chapter 1. Bonita Resort and Club. Two teenaged boys played tennis on the court in front of me. Both looked about 15, though it can be hard to tell these days. Neither had the skills to make it big in tennis. Success requires divine talent or an unbreakable will. Ideally, both. To anybody watching, it was obvious these guys didn't measure up. Every now and then they would stop and look at me for approval. I'd wave and smile, giving their fragile egos a little boost. Anyway, they weren't here to improve. More likely, they were sent because Dad wanted some alone time with Mom. Or maybe the parents just got fed up with them always being glued to the screen. Given that my business card read professional tennis coach, I really should have tried harder. For example, I could have shown them how to properly spin a serve. A small effort on my part, costing nothing, and it would have been like night and day for their game. But my thoughts were elsewhere. Ever since I woke up, there had been one thing only on my mind.
How do you commit a burglary without getting caught?
So I wasn't planning on giving it my all as a tennis coach. The idea was to let them go at it and work up a sweat for another minute or two before moving on with my criminal master plan. A sound from behind pulled me out of my thoughts.
Hello, John.
Susan Beresford had a knack for sneaking up on people. I turned around and beheld God's gift to man, 29 years old, and with a breathtaking beauty that hit you like a punch in the gut. For the day, she had arranged her hair in a new style. Instead of the usual look, with every strand perfectly in place, this was a kind of bird's nest with the hair sticking out in all directions. It wasn't that the overall effect was bad. On the contrary, the classic beauty stood out even more against the messy framing. She tucked a loose lock behind her ear and looked at me with those fantastic eyes. The eyes were a particularly strong card, magnetic eyes that had the male staff at Bonita mumbling and grinning like fools. Her tricks had no effect on me. Her type was a common occurrence at Bonita, with plenty of wealthy young women before her, using me as a lab rat to fine-tune their seductive powers. Bored young women with too much free time and a craving for attention were a dangerous mix to begin with. Add to that the absence of the normal entourage of suitors, and you had a situation that made life unbearable for men in the vicinity. It was a giant need for validation that had to be satisfied. And even if the lowest-ranking servants escaped the unwanted attention, there was one guy who never got away: the tennis coach. Extensively covered in numerous books, Hollywood had kept it on the repertoire for so long that the theme was worn out: the married woman and her fling with the tennis guy. So, yes, I understood exactly what she was up to. Unfortunately for her, I no longer could muster the enthusiasm. "Good day, Ms. Beresford." Something about my response caused her to pause, and the small smile faded. But she quickly regained composure. Shaking her head and causing the hair to fly all over, she looked at me again, this time with a squinted gaze. When she turned on the charm, she was truly extraordinary. Even with everything, I had to give her that.
John, please. Call me Susan.
She pleaded. Inwardly, I sighed and considered the age difference. With my 40th birthday on the horizon, she should leave me be. Surely there were lots of younger prospects she could torment. Despite my annoyance, I tried to sound friendly when I replied. As I mentioned before, I'm a bit old-fashioned.
But that doesn't apply to everyone, does it?
No, certainly not, you little troublemaker. It's just you and a few others who don't know how to behave. So, you'll be Ms. Beresford until the end of time.
Instead of saying what I was thinking, I glanced towards the boys in front of us. This would show her how occupied I was with the tennis lesson. With a bit of luck, this could cause her to leave and test drive her feminine superpowers on someone else. I gestured towards the court. "Can I help you with anything else, Ms. Beresford?" A shadow of irritation appeared, but nothing a mere servant said would ever cause more than a ripple on her perfect surface. With a tilt of her head, she unleashed the patented 1,000-watt smile.
Actually, there is one thing. I'm considering taking up tennis. Do you give lessons to beginners?
In a strange way, it was a credit to her that she asked. Of course, I taught beginners, and she must have been fully aware of that. Certainly, but unfortunately the schedule is quite tight at the moment, However, my colleague Archie McLean is available. Absolutely. I leaned in and lowered my voice. Honestly, Archie is the better coach. He's a wizard when it comes to getting the basics going. The smile disappeared, and surprise spread across her face. Surprise that a simple servant could defy her. This little excursion probably didn't unfold as intended. Nonetheless, I was actually doing her a favor. Every child should know you can't have everything you point at.
I was kind of hoping you could teach me.
Well, that's not gonna happen, so you can leave now. One more thing, little lady. Stop boosting the charm. The world is not ready.
Sorry, Ms. Beresford. Completely booked this week. And the next. You'll have to make do with Archie. Now she looked almost sad. For a whole second, I genuinely felt sorry for her. Poor little rich girl. All the disappointments the day must be filled with.
Okay then. I'll just do that.
She turned on her heel and sauntered away. I called out to the guys on the court. Looks great, guys. Really, good effort. I have to wrap up, but keep it going. Had I the power to delay or stop what was about to happen, I certainly would have. Every fiber of my being resisted what was coming. But the path was set. It was time to kick off my criminal career, put the plan into action. And like all perfect plans, this began with a large cup of coffee for the aspiring outlaw.